Aloha, shalom, Shabbat shalom. Hopefully the connection is stable this time. But third time's a charm. Here we go. All right, so we're here for the final quarter activation, which means last week we had the full moon activation. We received the fullness of the picture. This week at the final quarter, we're ready to integrate the information that we've now fully taken in, that we've fully received by now. And so next week is the new moon. So we're right in between the full and new moons, which means we're at the in-between stage where we're closing up one cycle and getting ready to begin another, which, by the way, will be in alignment with the incoming high holy days of Judaism. So if you're celebrating Chag Sameach, happy holidays. And for anybody who wants to get the Kabbalistic codes or keys to those Jewish high holidays, remember, they're not just for Jewish people, they're for all beings who are seeking those keys. Anybody can have access to them. So if you want to know what those holidays mean for you and how you can access those keys, feel free to join us in our private group Shabbat Crew, because I'm going to be posting a lot there in the next couple of weeks. Again, it's called Shabbat Crew, Shabbat Crew. It's a private group on Facebook. So if you're into Kabbalah, Jewish mysticism, please join us there. Hey everybody, welcome. Yay, good to see you all returning. Welcome back to the activation portal. We've been doing these videos every week for years now. If it's your first time, welcome to the portal. I'm just shuffling the deck right now. So while I'm shuffling, go ahead and let me know in the comments where in the world you're tuning in from. I'm tuning in from Sedona, Arizona. North Carolina, Trinidad. Hello, hello. Holland, hello. Florida. And feel free to share this video now while we're live with any family or friends you think could use an uplifting message right now. Maybe you have a favorite group on Facebook that you want to share this with while we're live. Let's get everybody in the portal. And it's totally cool to watch it afterward if you want to just catch the recording instead, or if you want to share the recording, it will also be on YouTube and Instagram, Rebecca Magic, for anyone who's not on Facebook. Remember that the deck is like you. This whole deck is you, and these are the different parts of you. Each card is a different part. You can also see it as the collective or universal mind, and each card is a different pathway within that mind. And so when we shuffle, we're activating all those pathways. We're touching them all, waking them all up, saying hello. So you just want to shuffle until you feel like you've woken up the whole collective, the whole mind, the whole self, the whole body, the whole awareness, the whole being, which is what the deck represents. Okay, and now I'm going to go ahead and shuffle the Hebrew cards. They look like this. They work the same way as the tarot. So each one represents a different aspect of the mind, a different archetypal concept, and so we're just waking them up. All right, I feel like an eagerness today, like they're eager to talk, so I'm very excited. Thank you in advance, archetypes, faces of the one, for this message about to come through, which means thank me, thank you, thank we, thank one, thank us, because we're all a part of this great one. So thank you in advance for this message. It's final quarter, so we want to know, how do we best close up one cycle and prepare to step into the new? What is the current focus, aka the challenge and gift? What's something we can leave behind, step away from, to enter this new focus with the greatest presence and wholeness? And now with the Hebrew cards, as usual, we'll pull an ally of the week. And remember, they're all our allies, always. They're all always present. But because we live in this human reality, in this time-space reality, we can identify which one is the priority focus at any given point. We just have to ask. Okay, the ally. Okay, we're gonna jump right in. So the focus of the week. And we have a 10. And to me, the 10s always speak very clearly when we're in the in-between stage, because 10s are endings and new beginnings, whereas 9 is just ending, 1 is beginning. The 10 is showing both a connection between the ending and beginning. So I always love when we pull 10s at this time of the cycle. And it's wands, so it's the suit of spirit and fire. And he's carrying all of that. So it's asking us to look at what is our burden right now? What are we carrying in a way that is keeping us from growing spiritually? Which really, when you translate that, means what is keeping us from growing psychologically? Because the psyche and the spirit are one. Our psychological evolution is one with our spiritual evolution. So it's asking us to just look at it like this. Don't make it into this crazy mystical concept where now it's unreachable, where you ask, oh God, what is my spiritual burden? It's simple. What's keeping you from expanding? What's keeping you from expanding in mind and in heart? Be a little more creative with the wording when you have that self-dialogue, when you ask yourself this question. Be creative, because your ego might get in the way, and then there's a limitation or a block from being able to receive the truth, receive the full reflection. So then you can never do the work to get there, to get through it. So get creative, okay? It's also fire, suit of spirit, which is creativity. How can you be creative to get around your own ego, to be able to answer such a question as we're being asked this week? What are we carrying? What is our heaviest burden right now that's keeping us in the way of, which is in the way of our growth, psychological and spiritual? Okay, so this is the focus of the week. This is the challenge of the week, which means challenge, gift, challenge, gift. If it's our challenge, what's the gift within it? What is the opportunity hidden within the challenge here? Because that's what we really want to focus on, because that's what gives us the inspiration and the motivation to not just get through each challenge, but to get through it and soar, to go above and beyond, to have the foresight to be prepared for these challenges so that we can say, yes, I'm ready for it. I invite it. I'm not resisting it. I'm open, and I'm here to do my best, to be present and do my best, because I know the gift that's on the other side of each of these challenges, right? So let's talk about what is the gift that comes with this. First, before getting too complex in the mind, the gift is a feeling. It's lightness. You feel light. You feel joyful. How many of you have felt so heavy lately that you've been so lost in those feelings of heaviness that you even forget to envision yourself light, drama-free? We just forget, because life is showing us such an opposite thing, and we forget that this reality we see around us is already a result of a past thought. And we become lost in that. So how many of you feel like you've actually been envisioning that lightness of self, what that would feel like in your life, in your relationships, in all of your projects, in your career? Just feeling that lightness. Perhaps we're in this space where we're just so used to carrying the burden that we've created thought programs, right? Like we've embedded them deep within our consciousness. We've created these thought programs. We've been speaking these words. We've been doing these things, these behaviors that are a result of this story we've been telling ourselves that I'm going to carry this forever. Carrying things that we don't even realize we can put down because we've told ourselves sometime long ago, maybe even a past life, right? Who knows? Who cares? That we have to carry this thing, that it's our burden to carry. So the challenge this week is asking us to look at, in what ways have I formed habits in thought, in speech, in behavior around this idea, this narrative that I am to carry a certain burden forever. something that's painful. It could be even like an idea you have about yourself, like in your genetics, that you feel you can't break free from, but we know that's not the truth. Or maybe it's something in your life that you feel you can't change. And so because you've accepted it subconsciously, you've created negative patterns of thinking, speaking, and acting around that. But perhaps coming back to awareness, we can begin to accept our life situation from a more present space, right? So it's consciously being done, not subconsciously. And with that acceptance, as we consciously, presently, willfully participate in that experience of acceptance, we can do it more intentionally because we're doing it with awareness now, whereas before it was just subconscious. Now we're doing it with awareness, and we can accept the things in our life, and as we're accepting, simultaneously tell ourselves inwardly the reasons why we're accepting these things, so that we can accept them healthily, so that we can accept them in a way where we're seeing God's plan or source's plan, Great Spirit's plan, whatever you want to call it. It's one thing to accept certain pains as just a part of what it has to be. And it's another thing as accepting it from a space of true acceptance, true compassion, true self-awareness. The part of self that wishes to progress and expand despite whatever circumstances are currently present. Because we know we are beyond this body. That part of self that gets to consciously choose knows that we're beyond this body and beyond this lifetime. Knows that we're beyond this world of time and space. That the true essence of who we are is light that is forever. And when we decide how to respond to life from that part of self, that highest part of self, that only part of self that's real, we accept our current circumstances, but we don't accept them as forever. We don't accept them as final, because that part of self knows that, yes, this is what it is right now, but right now is fleeting. And truly within the now is eternity. And so that highest part of self says, I'm not going to accept anything less than the truth that I am that eternal light. And this is how miracles happen. Miracles, whatever you want to call them, okay? This is how people with terminal illnesses all of a sudden just get better. If you haven't yet read the book, Get the Science of Mind by Ernest Holmes. Get the Science of Mind by Ernest Holmes. Okay, every great prophet has spoken about this. Everything is the mind. So two people can have the same exact circumstances in their life. And it's all a matter of how much are we accepting of those circumstances, and how are we making the best of them, and how are we perceiving them? Because it all starts with the perception of our circumstances, right? Self-reflection. So two people, right? Same circumstances, but one person is viewing it from this space of, I am just this human in this body, and when I die, that's it. You know, I'm not a being of light. I'm a being of density, and I'm sick, and I'm ill, and I'm depressed. And when you see your situation from that lens, you perceive it as, oh God, my life is a curse, right? There's no gratitude there. There's no gratitude there. There's no recognition of true self beyond the body. So there's all these limitations. You're literally trapped. You put yourself in a prison. Because gratitude is the medicine. It's the key to our healing, to our longevity, to our immortality. Literally, truly. But if you're looking from that perspective of your lower self, the part of you that is temporary, you're going to create more and more problems and get stuck. And you'll carry that burden forever. But now let's take the other person who has the same circumstances in their life, but they say, I remember who I am, and I'm going to see from that perspective, I am eternal light. First of all, let's start there. Whew, okay, I can feel detached immediately. Now I'm ready to view the situation from a healthy, detached perspective. I definitely want to look at it. I don't want to, pretend it's not there. So I'm ready to look at it from a higher perspective. So I'm going to examine the situation for what it is. I'm going to accept what I cannot change. And then I'm going to remember that everything happens for a reason. I'm going to remember that I am beyond this body. And I'm going to stay focused on those things. And through my remembrance and my focus on this remembrance and my action upon this remembrance, everything will shift in my life. Miracles will happen. So this is really the challenge of the week. I could probably go on and on forever about this one card, but we have 2 more to pull. So just to sum it up, the challenge right now is saying you have the opportunity to start a whole new beginning on your path, on your spiritual path, yes, whatever you want to call it. Also your psychological path, your path to expansion and growth, which is simultaneously your path to health and joy and bliss and immortality, longevity. I won't even go into that. You guys know I don't usually go into that unless there's a specific video on that, because we know that everybody has different beliefs on that matter. But really, the goal of every secret society, the goal of every culture that has ever existed has been to find that eternal spring within, which in this reality translates to immortality. So this is the goal of, Freemasons, OTO, all the secret societies you can imagine, Golden Dawn, all of it. It's all to achieve self-conscious immortality. Look it up. Okay, so we have a chance to walk that path right now, to move away from the direction we've been going in, which is suffering, pain, this heavy burden, to setting it down, expansion, health, progress, growth, mind, body, spirit, growth, bliss. So we have the opportunity to do that right now. Start a new beginning. Put down that burden, which is only our own self-imposed limitations. And what has been a little in the way? Oh, does this guy look familiar? He came up this past month. 7 of Swords. Okay, so what this looks like together is this. There's a part of us that has been through a lot. Okay, Sword, suit of challenges. We've been through a lot. We're picking up the pieces now. We're putting them back together. Don't be too careful that you miss an opportunity. Don't be too careful and too cautious that you end up blocking your own opportunities for growth and expansion. We want to move out of fear and into fire of courage and bravery. We want to move out of this, imbalance, this extreme caution, to let go a little bit. Remember that we are that infinite light. And remember that we're always protected. Remember all those laws that come with this reality of who we are. All that magic. And remember we're protected. So if you remember all that, you won't tread too carefully because you'll remember you're protected, right? You won't try too hard to make anything happen on your path because you'll remember divine order and that everything's unfolding perfect already, and you just need to support that and open up to that. There's already a design that we're following. There's already like a track that we're moving on as a collective consciousness, and we have to accept that underlying code or pattern and work with it. And if we do that, if we remember that as the truth and we follow that, we live by that truth, then there's no space for over worrying, looking over our shoulder, thinking we're going to recreate the same thing, trying too hard to make sure we put every piece so carefully in its place. No, instead there's more surrender. I'm going to put down that burden. I'm going to remember that I have everything within me to get this life right. I have everything within me to walk the path in the way that I came here to walk it. The path is being paved right now, so I don't have to worry. Okay, so really, in other words, what this is saying is leave behind all of your anxieties, all of your perfectionism, all of your worries that you're going to recreate the same challenges or new ones. Challenges will come. It's inevitable. That's why there's a whole suit dedicated to challenges in the tarot. It's how we grow. Challenge equals chariot. Look to cards 6 and 7 in the major arcanum. That shows that key right there. Challenge always leads to chariot, ascension. If there's nothing to transcend, we cannot grow. But it's a waste of time to sit there anticipating all of the challenges and wondering, dreaming up what they're going to be, even supporting the devil in the process. Don't worry, the devil's going to come for you and you'll overcome every time. It's just a part of the natural way. But we don't need to sit here and give the devil fuel, give the devil material. We don't need to sit here and daydream about all of the challenges that are going to come. So let that go a little bit. See yourself as the Seven of Swords, this guy right here. And this card, remember, is representing action and careful action in moving through a challenge in your life after you've gotten through the hardest part. This is the part where you're like, okay, carefully rebuilding, making sure you don't recreate those same challenges, right? But I'm saying now, look at this card and imagine that part of you that's doing that, that's rebuilding right now, wakes up and remembers connection to source. And that process becomes way easier all of a sudden. It becomes way lighter all of a sudden. We can set the burden down and give it to God, whatever you want to call it. Give it to source, Hashem, Allah, Krishna. We say, oh gosh, wow, for a second I thought I was doing it all on my own. Okay, let me remember divine order. Let me remember who I really am, that I'm beyond this body even. Whoo, and this process becomes a lot easier. I allow myself to be carried through it. And look who shows up again. So we didn't have this card last week, but we did have it for the previous 3 weeks in a row. So this is the Reish, the Hebrew letter Reish. You can Google it. Just type in Hebrew letter R-E-I-S-H. Remember, it's going to be flipped right now because we're on a camera. Okay, Reish is connected to Arcanum 20 in the tarot, Judgment. It has a numeric value of 200. Now, let me put it to you this way. If you take the High Priestess and you take the Judgment card, there's also a middle part there. If you take card 11, you reduce it, it gets to a 2. But I want to focus on the High Priestess and the third evolution of the number 2, which is in 20, the Judgment card. In the High Priestess, we have a balance of the 2 within you. Judgment, number 20, is an evolution of that 2, hence the 2 and 0. Okay, so you come to the Judgment card, and it's those 2 in you being released. That's why they show the images they do in tarot. If you want to know more about the symbolism, ask me about my course on symbolism, because there's hours of material there. But if you look at those 2 cards together, you'll see some similarities. Okay, so whereas the High Priestess is keeping that balance within you of the 2, mother, father, masculine, feminine, Judgment is when you release those perspectives to reflect upon self. So it's seeing, judgment from those perspectives of the 2 that make up the 1, the mother and the father, the masculine and the feminine, turning to face yourself and look at yourself through those eyes. Okay, so Reish, every Hebrew letter has a hieroglyphic symbol associated with it. The Reish is associated with a Rosh, which is a head in Hebrew. What is the head? You always find the meaning of the hieroglyphic symbol by relating it to the divine. So a head is talking about the Godhead. So we begin to see with all this information that the Reish as an ally is telling us to consider that Godhead perspective. Consider the 2 within you. What would they say right now if you were to release them right before you? What would they turn to you and say? That's what the message of the Reish is all about. And here it's very clear. It's so simple. The answer is always so simple. You'll know when you found the true answer in your reading because you've gotten to the archetypal root, when it can't get any simpler, when you've found the common denominator. Okay, so it's very simple here. It's saying if you want to stop this anxiety and this over worrying and trying to do God's job, if you want to be able to relax into your process, not always be looking over your shoulder, be worrying about what's to come. If you want to really set that burden down, if you want to really be able to grow spiritually, which requires setting that burden down, if you really want to be able to grow psychologically, which requires setting that burden down, you need to consider the Godhead perspective, the bigger picture perspective, this perspective of the mother, father that tells you who you are, reminds you who you are, where you came from, that head, right? That source, you came from them. Remember who you are. It's like the Godhead would say to the Seven of Swords in you, what are you doing? Why are you over worrying? Why are you trying to micromanage your job? Why are you getting in the way of the process? Remember, set that burden down. That's ridiculous, the Mother Father would say. Set that burden down. You're not even letting us help you. Let us help you, and we can help you set it down. You think you need to carry all that, but it's an illusion. You can set it down now. Time to open up. Time to let it go. Time to grow. Okay? So this Godhead, Mother, Father, remember, they'll always guide the way, not just in this moment. These allies are all always present, as I said. But right now, this is the particular one to stay focused on, is that higher perspective. Remember where you came from. And if you truly do remember, you cannot fall into this space of trying to micromanage God's job. You more so open up to what you know the pattern of that job already is. You just follow the pattern and you're guaranteed success. So why are you tripping? And when you remember, Reish, Rosh, remember who you are, you'll look at yourself and say, how silly of me to carry this. I should put it down right away because I'm actually not carrying anything. It's made up. It's all in my mind. I've been living in a delusion and I can set it down now because think about it. Each of these wands represents the spine, right? Like the Kundalini or Shekinah, the life force. You don't need to make it harder. You don't need to carry so much of that. The one within you is enough. The one within you is everything. It is enough. Stop carrying around all this extra. The one within you is enough. It's not about quantity. It's about quality. It's about the one within. So remember, let go of these silly acts of martyrdom. Let go of trying to think you need to do it all on your own. Let go of overthinking, of anxiety. Simplify your vision. May it be a Reish, Rosh reflection of the Most High. And then hold on to that vision and follow the path that you know will take you there. All right, you guys, so if you want to take these cards out, or you want to further look into them and do your own research, 7 of Swords, 10 of Wands, and the Hebrew letter Reish. Feel free to share this video. You can share the recording once it's done here. It's going to be on Facebook. It will be on YouTube and Instagram, Rebecca Magic. Feel free to share it with anybody you think could really use these words right now. A favorite group, a friend, maybe somebody you just met, or maybe you know someone who could help maximize our potential with this activation we just received. Maybe you know someone that if they watch this, you know they're going to contribute in such a powerful way to our portal, which would further assist in the bringing of heaven to earth. That's why we're all here, right? That's why we're here doing these collective activations. Let us not forget, let us remember why we're here is to bring heaven to earth, which means seeing our body as that earth and bringing the light of the soul, of the spirit into this body, being an embodiment of heaven on earth, knowing that that is our individual duty within the collective duty of transforming this entire earth. I love you guys. For those of you who've been asking, you can get my books directly from me. I'm happy to ship them to you, sign them, include a little bookmark, Royal Path 1 and 2, Major Arcanum, Minor Arcanum. I give all of my secrets in the simplest form I possibly could. A new way of looking at the elemental suits beyond manipulation. I give the Hebrew letter correlations in here beyond manipulation, which you can't really find in any modern tarot books. I also have a video course on each of the major arcanum cards going more into the symbolism, which is different than the books, but great together. So feel free to ask me if you want a class about a particular card or if you want to go in order learning all of the cards. I also am available for one-on-one readings, so reach out to me anytime you want to book. It doesn't matter where in the world you are. I have all the platforms, so reach out. Let me know if you have any questions, and I'll see you guys in our private groups, the Archetypal Alliance and Shabbat Crew, which I'll be very active in the next couple of weeks as we approach these high holidays, which are the most important holidays of the entire year to access these light codes through the Torah Torah Tarot. So feel free to join us in those private groups. And I look forward to hearing from you all. If you have enjoyed this activation or previous activations, if it's helped you in some way, please consider writing a review on my page here, facebook.com/royalpathtarot, or send me a private review. Send me reviews of my books. I would love to hear what you think about my books. Again, if you want to give back for these activations, my donation links are also on my Facebook wall, so check it out. Thank you so much to everyone who has been supporting and giving back and donating to these activations. I am so grateful. All right, guys. Look forward to hearing from you. Shalom. Shabbat shalom.